Hi guys, I'm eesmal, and today we're going in depth to show you exactly how I made Burn. Burn is my biggest song with over 13,000 streams on Spotify, and we're not just looking at the breakdown, we're also looking at the drop and all the other elements and how exactly I made Burn. We're going to be looking at the unmixed multitracks, so let's hop right into the DAW and get moving. So Burn has a couple of parts, right? We have the intro, which you can hear here. It's literally just an atmosphere right here. And where's the pluck? Here. How about this? So if you saw my last video, you'll know that I showed you how I made the break of Burn. So we'll look at that at the end. First, let's look at the build-up, because that's sort of a different portion. This is also part of the break, I guess, but it's also part of the build-up right here. And so this vocal effect is done by having this is a form and shifted down vocal that I use just Ableton's. So you won't get a look into the exact processing, but you can see the multi-tracks and how exactly everything is put together. Things like this, here's the build-up. I made it myself, so the drum loop. So the build-up I like because it has a lot of things with some energy. Oops, sorry about that camera. It has these horns that build energy. And so they're all that as well as a saw. You hear that? And then you get up to here and it's all filtered back in. So like all together, this drop, really simple. I want to note here we have this bass as well, which is a thing that's been everywhere. I made it in Serum. It's just a plucky bass. But all together, it sounds like this. And then build up. Yeah, we have some rising here. The levels aren't perfect, but they're pretty good. Like that's the pre-drop. But let's also look at this second part, because there are some differences. First of all, we have these strings. And we keep some other stuff, like we have this guitar. So that adds energy. And so all together, it leads to a heavily energetic drop. Speaking of the drop, let's get into that. So, once these vocals get out, we're here. So the first sound you hear is this impact. It's a big impact, and it fills up a lot of space at the start. You see this verse bass is still present. It shows this atmosphere. It's so prevalent throughout the entire track, because it honestly is probably the part of the song that really ties the track together. It's the one part. But here, I guess now we get to the section I was the drop. So you have these drums. So you can tell that we have some perks in here, like the snaps. There's like an offbeat hit, which is key, and it's just a fast-paced dubstep rhythm. Not really fast-paced, it's just a dubstep rhythm. So now we have 4 chord synth things all together. They sound like this, which is good, but you know, they can do better. So, but let's look into each one. First of all, we have this, and then we have the horns, which bring a lot of energy. At least I keep saying this, but it brings the energy. These horns. This chord progression, I think, is another supersaw. Last one as well. So they're all just bright supersaws and horns, which get these mids. And so all together, they get pretty captivating. And then you got the basses. So first we got the mid bass. And then this other mid bass. So we got the like crunchy mid bass and the like smoother mid bass. They both have some distortion on them. Don't get me wrong, but this mid bass, it's a lot more dynamic in a sense, and it's doing a lot more. So you can't have it too much. And again, this one, it sort of just brings some light from one part to another. It sort of transitions portamento style from one to another to get that smooth feel. We have a sub bass here, which I can hardly hear on these headphones, but it's definitely there, and it definitely brings some power. And now we get to the fun part. The vocal drops. I made this, I remember, I was playing around on my MIDI keyboard with reverse samples. So I was just playing around. I played this melody in, and then I chopped it up a bit more. So with Ableton's Slice tool, we can get these vocal chops. And again, I did the same thing on 2 different tracks. One form and shifted up and one down. And together they make this. Yeah, so they added a decent amount of power, and that's really the driving force in the drop. And then these follow the chord progression. Add some distortion. Brass stabs, they're fine. And then the only real two real differences between this first drop and the second drop are these vocals being in the drop. And then the other thing is like it's just different enough where like you can still feel it, but it's not too different. The drops are a tiny bit different, but the big thing is this. These are elongated, and these have a bit more of a stutter to them. In the actual song, of course, the stutter is more noticeable if you listen all the way through, but at least in this portion, like, the drop here has these together. And this part of it has an LFO on it. So everything's done in eighth notes. So like if I dragged in just like a drop sample here, you can see. So something got mixed up in the mix down here. But then you can get how it's a lot more full here. So the way I would do that for these, the way I would do that, group these together, give them chords, and then I use Ableton's LFO, or this free plugin called Flex Mini. And what Flex Mini does, so like I can just do this, or this. So that's how this got done. So that's how I would make that. So that's how I make this part. And then of course there would be more side chaining and things like that going on. I only have these mix downs, these stems right now. Not like all of the stems, not like the final mix stems, because I was mixing these and I just didn't want to lose my progress. But I never actually finished, or got exported the whole mix of stems. And so let's go back out of these drops for a second and look at, just in case you didn't see my last video, look at the verse or the break. So it's very atmospheric, and we have these guitars. And then everything's just layered with the. So I remember I used Ample Guitar Lite 2. AGML. It's a great plugin. It's high. I'm not good at playing stuff on. So yeah, it's relatively realistic and it works just fine for EDM. And then this piano is Ableton's stock grand piano sound. If I was doing this now, Ableton does have better sounds. Like even the upright piano on Ableton is better. It has a more realistic sound and you can get away with it better. And this is just a pluck from Serum. I don't remember what exact patch I used, but it all comes together. And so, well, there isn't a lot of variation. There's just enough variation. I think if I did this in the future, I'd probably add a little more arrangement. Like if I did this, remade this now, there'd probably be a bit more of a progression in the verses and the breaks, other than like the drums, which go from this to kick. And then that's basically all the progression, as well as just vocal progression. So like that, I mean, that sounds pretty similar to this. So like, if you just put it in a vacuum, you'll be able to easily hear the differences. But if you're listening it through it the whole way, you hear this part, and then you hear a little chiller part, and then you hear a build up, and then you get back to here. You're gonna maybe not remembered, but it's gonna be harder for you to be as fatigued. And I think like the simplicity along with how exactly this works. So the simplicity along with just the catchiness of the vocal, the catchiness of the drop melody. I think those are the big reasons. So I know that doesn't help a ton, but things I would do in the future, because another thing is, like, as producers, we improve. We don't just stay the same. We get better, and as time goes on, we're gonna start to dislike our work. Like, I like this song, but there's a bunch of things I think I could have done better, and I incorporated that in my next song that I'm working on. So, if you want to hear a song in sort of in this style, but in my opinion better, stay tuned. November 15th. But yeah, that's about it for this video. That was a breakdown of Burn from drop and break, intro and outro. And so, that, I'm gonna say goodbye, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.